So I was talking to my therapist, and we spoke about my parents. You know what I'm saying? We spoke about things that went on with my parents in my childhood and things that I probably need to forgive my parents for. And she gave me a tip that I never forget that helped me a lot in that regard. And basically what she told me was, she asked me how old I was. I'm sorry. She asked me how old my mom was when I was born. So I told her, and she was like, okay. We went down different experiences that I had. And she was like, well, how old were you at this point? And how old was your mom at this point? And that made me realize that my mom was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For some of my childhood, especially being in my mid 30s and looking back at how I behaved at the same age that she was when she did some of the things to me that it's hard to forgive her for. So number one, it made me realize that she was young. Number two, it made me stop looking at situations like things that she did to me and start making me look at situations like things that we just went through. You know what I'm saying? Because
So you looked at it as shit that was happening to you, what was did to you, versus
of course, as a kid, yeah, I looked at like she did this to me, she did that to me, versus like stuff that we just went through because she was a kid too. She was technically an adult, but I mean at 24, 25, 26 years old, how mature are you really? You know what I'm saying? We talk about the frontal lobe not developing all the way to a certain age. But also my therapist, I asked her, should I bring my parents to therapy? And she said no, and I was very surprised by that, right? And her reasoning was because she said, you can't control the outcome. So you might bring them to therapy and they might not even acknowledge or validate anything that you feel like you've been through. They might say and act like they don't even know what you're talking about. And you might end up worse than how you came by bringing them to therapy. So you need to find a way to forgive them for yourself.
If you lazy, you waking up at fucking 3 o'clock in the afternoon and shit like that,
Popping bottles,
you're setting the tone for everybody because you're the leader.
popping pills,
That's just what comes with being a man.
popping bitch ass niggas.
I don't want nobody making decisions over my life except me. Not a woman, not a judge, not an officer, not no motherfucking body.
When them bullets hit him up, look like son had a seizure. Run up, give it up, you know the procedure. I be sipping Jack and honey.
I don't think nothing can make me feel like a man. I don't think nothing can make me not feel like a man.
Chains on my collar.
You can't take the benefits of being a man without the responsibilities.
Give you niggas halos on God in the king.
Forgiving our parents, our relationship with our parents shapes us in so many different ways. Our first experiences with joy, with love, with pain, disappointment. Usually a lot of that comes from our experiences with our parents. And a lot of times it's hard to grow and get to a level of self-actualization and the points that you need to get to in life without forgiving them. So that's what the episode today is about. Welcome back to Roses I Did. I am Terry Roseland.
I'm Jones.
R.I.P. to Nikki Giovanni, man. Nikki Giovanni just passed
Today?
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikki Giovanni passed. R.I.P. Nikki Giovanni. I was gonna look up a Nikki Giovanni quote to start the show with.
I think
I had
everybody
so much shit to do, I forgot.
I think everybody knows her for that clip, where she like, you lie to the white man, you lie to your boss, you lie to them, lie to me too.
That was a crazy request.
But after she explained everything, like I understood exactly where she was coming from. She like, shit, I get the least of you, and you love me. You don't give a fuck about them, and you protecting their feelings. You walking on eggshells, making sure they okay. You say just fuck me, huh?
I got a Nikki Giovanni quote. She said, "We love because it's the only true adventure."
Ooh, that shit is an adventure. Ups, downs.
So I will say this about that clip, right? This is a whole nother conversation. I don't know how much I agree with her. Because if I've been lying all day, when do I get to be me?
No. So check this out. And in her point, yeah, you've been lying all day, and you don't give a fuck about these people. Yeah, you got to do it for your paycheck and everything.
For our paycheck.
For our paycheck. But shit, like you not lying to me is tearing me down. It's making me feel like shit.
Yeah.
So if you've been lying all day, nigga, come home and tell 3 more lies so I can at least be at peace and we have a happy home.
I get her point 1,000%. When do I get to be human?
Now you better go turn up with the white man.
We gonna be poor. We already poor. We gonna be poorer.
Nah, I damn.
It's a conundrum.
It's a double-edged sword.
It's a conundrum, and it's fucked up because I could imagine how hard it was to be a man back then when you were like treated as a second-class citizen. Now racism is so systematic and so covert that we don't really deal with that type of shit for real, like at all. You know what I'm saying? Like we have our challenges, absolutely, but it's nothing like it was then. You had a second class citizen probably type of job. Your access to mainstream America was very, very small, and then just the way, you know, police treat niggas bad now, but back then the way you was getting treated by the common white man, you know what I'm saying, was probably terrible. So how am I supposed to convince my wife to lead this home and convince her I'm this man when I'm not being treated with that type of respect nowhere that we go?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like you the only one that I'm trying to convince to believe this shit, because the world not treating me like that.
I'd have lost my shit, man, when when white men call you boy, boy. I lost a job like that one time. This white dude, I was working, I'll never forget, I was working at O&K American Corp on 55th by Midway. It was a factory right there. And this white dude, me and him, we was kind of going back and forth, and boy slipped out his mouth. Yeah. I got up in his face. I'm poking his forehead. I'm like, say that shit again. Yeah. And
pissed you the fuck off.
I lost it. I crashed out.
I remember when Kanye was on the news calling that dude boy.
What dude?
Some white dude was interviewing him, man. He cut him off. He was like, "Let me finish my brilliant thought, boy." Like, Kanye be going the fuck off. Kanye be acting like he was the slave master or some shit. Like, that nigga in his past, like, definitely got his foot chopped off for sure. Like,
yeah, Kanye wasn't going 100% back in the day.
Definitely got his foot chopped off.
That motherfucker be like, "Oh, if I was a slave, I'd have did this." Kanye would have did that. He would have did that shit for sure.
But outside of that, James Baldwin, this is who she was talking to. That's my favorite nigga of all time. Yeah, he's my favorite nigga. Yeah, James Baldwin.
I don't know, like that context kind of crazy because we talking about like back in the day, like that's your favorite nigga of all. I don't know why I saw it as like, you know what I'm saying. It's your favorrit nigga of all time type shit.
Did you use the ER right now?
I did. That's how I received it in the way you said it.
Oh man, James Baldwin. That's he's my favorite orator, my favorite speaker. Like, that nigga was cold. That nigga was cold. If y'all don't know who James Baldwin is, I know a lot about him. You ain't got to do no real research. Just go on YouTube, type that nigga in. Y'all see him at them colleges on stages, debating white boys in front of all white crowds, fucking them niggas up. Shout out to James Baldwin. Shout out to Nikki. R.I.P. to Nikki Giovanni. Shout out to James Baldwin. That is a legendary clip. And who would have thunk that shit would have been on fucking social media getting shared as much as I done seen that clip 100 times on social media. Yeah. And that shit was what, in the 50s, 60s or some shit?
70 years ago.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? That's what happened when you make classic content, man. That's what we trying to do right now. What's the highs and lows, man?
Highs. Going to my boy wedding in a couple days. It's in Cancun. Get up out of here for a little minute. I definitely need that shit. Yeah. Well, this shit been ups and downs like a motherfucker. So just get away for a quick second. So that's the ups. Downs. I mean, it ain't really down. It's just typical shit, you know. I don't even want to call it a down, but just not even the pressure. It's what the fuck I have to do. It's what I'm responsible for with the sales engineering shit. It's just a lot of work right now. Yeah. I mean, I don't even look at it as like that. It costs what it costs. If I want this type of job, nigga, you got to go do this type of shit. So
they're gonna be so happy when you get this fucking job.
I hope y'all do. Send me some motherfucking turtles or some shit.
And it's dope that you keep talking about it. A lot of people they try to not talk about stuff that they got going on, big stuff. Like a lot of people be like, oh, I don't want to da 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 da. I've never been like that.
And I do it for the same reason you do it. I do it because it holds me accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows. Motherfucker, like, hey, what's up with the ooh?
I got to do it now.
I have to.
I ain't got no choice.
Y'all know, exactly.
You ain't finna see me a year from now and be like, hey, weren't you supposed to, what happened to your little podcast? No, bitch, I still got it. What you talking about?
Big podcast.
Right,
like,
so,
nah, we doing this shit all the way.
I'm gonna say it one more time. I will be a sales engineer in 2025.
For sure.
100%. So
For sure. For me, the highs, everything is good, man. We going to DC. By the time y'all hear this, it'll be Saturday. We going to DC Sunday. You know what I'm saying? We got a show in DC Sunday. Me, Jody, Heart of Soft. Shout out to Heart of Soft Tahoe, Courtney Loon. Another show. Shout out to DC. I ain't been in DC in a minute. I will be kicking it in what's it called, on U Street? Is it U Street?
I don't remember. I just remember Rose Bar.
Shout out to Rose Bar. Shout out to Rose Bar. We'll be kicking it on U Street Sunday night. So if you're in DC, come fuck with us. Or in the surrounding areas. I know it's like everything is right next to each other. I think I'll bunch stuff together out there. What's the lows? My son acting a fucking fool, man.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
I hate that for you. I've been there before.
Yeah, the nigga acting a fool. But it's like he different people. The motherfucker called me and say, oh, he just did this. I'm like, he did what?
Exactly.
Put him on the phone. He all
Came in.
like put together and shit. And like he was just wilding out. And I just called his mama. He was talking to her. I'm like, he was doing what?
It's oh my
what the
god.
fuck?
Oh my god.
Oh
Flashbacks.
man, I can't wait to see this nigga, man. I think he finna move in with me like permanently though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How old
like,
is he?
I already, huh?
How old is Carter?
He's 9. I
About that
already split the week. You know, we do our 50-50 shit, but I think it's finna be like he here all week. You know what I'm saying? She might be with him on a weekend.
Bro, Trey, I remember when he was going through that phase, it's like the nigga was two different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would hear the schooler called me, say he did this. I mean, he said that to who? He did what? It's like there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. I don't know. It don't even sound like that's not even my kid. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, because he'll never do that shit in front of me or around me or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when the first time his mama said that he like got smart with him. Then one time my sister had said something. Okay, let me choose my words carefully. I disciplined him how we used to get disciplined.
You kicked his ass?
I kicked his ass. My
for
niggas,
sure.
you cool? Like you would never like. So now, anytime I remember the first time I gave people that okay to be like, yeah, just tell them you're gonna call me. Boom, fix, problem solved.
Why do they not have the wherewithal to realize I'm gonna see my dad soon?
Nigga, you have to see me.
Like why
And
why
that's
don't
what-
they think about that until it's happening though? Like I don't get that part.
And I told Trey one time, I'm like, see, now I'm really finna get upset because you making it seem like you running over me. Like you doing this shit in school, they calling me and they like, damn, like nigga, what are you? Why is he? If we got to call you and he's still doing this shit, well, I'm like, okay, so now I'm finna really turn up on your ass because now you embarrassing me. You making it look like I'm a hoe. Like you just can do what the fuck ever. So now I'm finna get in your ass for real.
He probably upstairs right now, like this nigga finna whip my ass. This is shit I did
Hey,
3
Trey,
years ago.
Right, I had to bring Trey to the studio today. He probably listening right now.
Why you ain't put him on camera?
I'll put Trey on. He got his pajamas on. You know, that nigga look like a bum right now. He look crazy.
It'd be like that.
Got a busted lip, too.
We're real
I didn't do it.
parents understand.
Real parents understand.
Real parents understand. Speaking of real parents and discipline, how did your parents just discipline you?
Pops did all the disciplining. To this day, I'm scared of that man.
Okay.
Like, to this day.
What, he was chopping your toenails down to the root?
What the fuck is that?
Some pledge and shit. All right.
It's a pleasure. Pops, he did all the discipline, and honestly, it wasn't that much. Like I was genuinely scared of him. Like if I got in trouble and he handled me, I was good for at least 3 months. So
damn,
like
what the fuck was he doing?
I didn't want to. It was just whoopings, bro. But he's
Like,
strong
with
as
a belt?
fuck. Yeah.
He was whooping your ass with a belt.
Yes.
Bare ass?
Nah, it depended on what I did.
Nah, yeah.
I had to wild the fuck out for that.
That bare ass
Like,
whoop-
like you
that's
know
what-
what? If I maybe cut, I remember one time I stuck my middle finger up at the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bare ass whooping.
Mm.
Yeah, but other than that, it was like, you know what I'm saying, just regular whoopings, and ain't gonna lie, like
So you was getting your ass whooped with jeans on, and it was still fucking you up.
yes, nigga, I even put the long johns on under it,
Still.
and it still like,
Tagging your ass.
he was just so strong, and then even it got to, I was scared of his voice, I was scared of his presence, and I hope I'm not painting him like this big ass monster in the crib.
Yeah.
But if it came down to that, if that's who he needed to be to get me in line, All he have to do was look my way or say something, and I'm like, you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I never joined gangs, nigga. I'm not worried about y'all. Fuck. Nigga, do you see my daddy, G?
Fuck the police sirens. I hear Reggie.
That's it.
Oh shit.
Red. Oh, huh? Yeah. It was real in the crib, man. So
yeah, it's dope to have a man in the house, bro.
That kept me in line. So that's why, like, when I raising Trey, if he like this nigga, he was fucking with my head, man. Like Trey act up, and I go to my daddy mode or whatever. He'd be cool, and the next day he'd do some shit again. Oh no, hell no, bro!
You feel like you went daddy mode.
I gotta hit this nigga harder, bro. Like, what's going on? But nah, something was, for a minute, I ain't gonna lie, something was wrong with Trey. Like he would forget I don't want to put ADHD on him, but it's like when he got in that school environment, nigga, he legit just forgot about all consequences until he got in trouble.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, I gotta deal with my daddy now. Right. I want you to think about that shit before.
That nigga existed.
I forgot. I forgot that nigga existed. It's crazy.
Then it's crazy because kids kick it with other kids. I tell my kids all the time, like, stop kicking it with niggas who don't got the same consequences as you, bro. You can't kick it with niggas who don't. Like, this nigga don't got no consequences.
Well, I ain't got to no more. He good now. Shit, that was a good one.
Like, you hanging out with this nigga, like, he could do whatever. His mom ain't finna do shit to him. Ain't nobody coming up to the school checking on this nigga, none of that. You finna get your ass whooped when you get home. Like, why'd you hanging with him, G? Like, you can't do what he do,
Man, that was a gym. I wish I could have remembered that, man. He good now, man. Thank God. Fuck, thank God. That nigga make it. And I be telling him every now and then, you know what I'm saying? Nigga walk past, I'm like, hey, I appreciate you being good and being on top of your shit. Like, you making my life easier.
Yeah.
So if he knows that, I'm dead ass. Like, you making my life easier. Because it ain't shit worse than you going, as a parent, we dealing with grown up shit. We the new adults. Mm-hmm. And you dealing with all of this shit, and then your kid acting up, that just like the cherry on top to make you crash out. Like, what the fuck,
You got so much other shit to worry about, man.
I got so much shit to worry about. I'm trying to motherfucking keep a roof on.
That's what made them ass whooping so bad when we were shorties. Like, niggas was working class in the 90s. Niggas getting $700 checks and shit. You acting up. Oh, I'm finna tear your ass up. Fuck is you talking about?
I just had the school just called my job.
Yeah, that shit is crazy.
Nigga. Yeah, it was, the consequences was much more severe.
They was calling niggas jobs back then.
That was like, nigga, if the school called your people job, nigga, back in the day.
Yeah, that was crazy.
On the landline.
That was crazy.
We fucking you up.
Yeah. I used to love my the supervisor to come find my mama. That shit crazy, man. But let's get to this. Let's get to this actual topic, man. Let's open up this Trello, man. We ain't gonna do the voicemails today. All right, starting off with this, bro. Parents, they're humans.
Yeah,
they're human beings. We look at them like superheroes when we're little. We look at mom, a certain way, and we expect mom to be a certain way. We look at dad a certain way. But we don't see them as people that are flawed, as people who could be selfish, as people who could be, struggling with something or anything. You know what I mean?
We don't see them as human beings.
We don't.
We see them as a figure.
Exactly. And we talk about humanity so much.
Right.
And that's kind of how everybody looks at everybody. It's like just the role that you're playing in my life. Like, everybody's their own main character in their life. So everybody around you, you only see the parts of them that are facing you, right? And you feel like that should be the only part of them a lot of times. So as kids, we do that to our parents. And a lot of time we don't give them, the space that they need to actually make mistakes. And because of that, when we get older and we still kind of are in a space, like sometimes when your parent does something to you, if you're 10 years old, your 30-year-old self will remember it as a 10-year-old. You can't like relive it as a 30-year-old for whatever reason. It's like anything else can happen. You can think about your first girlfriend and how she it was Valentine's Day and she gave a crush pop to another nigga because she was crushing on that nigga. And as an adult, you could be like, man, what the fuck happened? We was kids.
Yeah.
But some shit your mama did to you at 10 years old,
I can't believe this motherfucker.
You still looking at it like a 10-year-old. I don't know why it's that way. I don't know why it's that way. It's crazy.
I think when we look at our parents as figures and shit, right? And I was an adult when I stopped looking, my father especially, and we're gonna get into that later. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I was an adult when I saw my dad as a man, you know what I'm saying, as a human being. But to your point, and we hold on to things as a child. I don't know if I can agree for real, and maybe I didn't go through too much traumatic shit, not even if any at all. But I processed things my dad did to me as a man. You know, as a kid, I'm like, this nigga is a menace. You know what I'm saying? But as a man, I'm like, wow, this was a great leader. Like he was preparing the fuck out of me for shit. You know what I'm saying? So I processed it, you know, as an adult. I think when it's traumatic, the reason why you can't process it as an adult is, and you look at it as a kid, also, I think the logical side of your brain kicks in and you looking at it from a stance of what you would have done now. Like you put yourself in that situation as an adult, but in the disciplinarian's place, it's like, I wouldn't have did that. You using your rationalization.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that to me as a 10-year-old? If this happened to my kid, I wouldn't do it that way. So you still not looking at it from their understanding and, you know, and where they was, because that child in you is hurt.
For sure. So I think it's also important to understand that your parent can't give you what they don't have.
Nobody can.
And not even just financially, but I didn't even mean that in a
I
financial
didn't even
way.
think it financially when you said it.
Just emotionally.
Yeah.
Just, you know, how they love. You know what I'm saying? My father's father was terrible. Like, that nigga was terrible. He was great to me. He's terrible to everybody else I see him interact with. Right? He was abusive. The nigga shot up the house before. The nigga was crazy. Like, my first...
He go to war? Was he in the war?
Shit, he was in war with my grandma.
Oh my God.
My first time experiencing domestic violence, and maybe the only time, because my father was never did that shit that I saw, was with my grandpa, was with that nigga. That nigga was wild. Like, he's a wild nigga from the South. It's a wild nigga. He left my father in Mississippi. Like, my grandparents decided they was gonna move to Chicago from Mississippi. I don't know what was going on with this fucking great migration from people from Chicago. I mean, from people from Mississippi come to Chicago, but we all got grandparents in Mississippi.
100%.
Although that my grandma probably came over here with your grandma. They probably the same fucking car, but they got ready to drive to Mississippi. Packed all their bags, put everything they had in the car, and my father say, you know, he got in the car. His dad was like, "Hey, I left one bag in the house. Go grab it." Came back outside, they was gone.
Never.
My grandma said she cried all the way to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I think he stayed in Mississippi for about 2 years with my grandma, with his grandmother, my great grandmother, and wasn't in school. Came to Chicago 2 grades behind when he finally got up here. When they finally sent for him, and you know, he hated that nigga. Like he
I
really
would too.
didn't
Nigga,
like
you left
his
me in
father.
Mississippi for 2 years.
Yeah, so it's like, when you look at that in context, my father was a great father to me because he was way better than, you know what I'm saying? So maybe he gave me a little bit more than what he had, but at the same time, you know, the only hold up with my father, it's a couple things my father did that fucked with me a lot. But some of the bigger, more important things was, I feel like I wasn't really prepared for the real world. And he was more like we talked about this before, but go get a job, work till you die type of guy. And, you know, he really didn't know much else. Like, he was the take what the world gives you type of guy. And I think even now it's hard to connect with him because it's hard to connect with anybody who doesn't have, especially an adult male who doesn't have a strong sense of self. Once you have a strong sense of self, it's hard to genuinely connect with somebody. Like, I don't know if you ever experienced that, but like, with me being in college, like when I got to college, Black pride became like down there the center of who I was. Like, I was watching all these fucking documentaries and shit. I was just like the most militant nigga in the world, bro. So when I got back around my father like years later, and he was like, oh, he was calling me a Muslim and shit. He like, oh, you got this beard, you don't eat pork no more. Cause the last time I seen him, I didn't have it. It was years. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a beard and shit. And he like, you don't eat pork no more. You a Muslim or something? Da-da-da. And it was just kind of like I started to realize how much he wasn't educated on who he was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not even from a religious standpoint, but just from being a Black man. You know what I'm saying? And that shit made it like damn near impossible for us to connect. You know, and then even becoming a man, looking back on certain things he did. So one of the things that's hard to forgive my father for, but two things. Number one, I used to sneak my girlfriend in the house, right? Mm-hmm. Did I tell you about this?
No, I thought it was going to, I know the other one, but go ahead.
Okay, so I used to sneak my girlfriend in the crib. And he knew. I thought they wasn't catching me. I was in the room right next. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I was in the room, like we shared a wall. Like I was in a room right next to this. And I was sneaking in the crib probably late as hell at night, 2 o'clock in the morning or some shit like that. And he knew.
Yeah.
So I used to have a party down the street. He came to me one day and he was like, hey, I know what you got going on. I know what you're doing. And it's cool. But if your mama find out, she gonna be fucking pissed. And that's on you. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So Pop's on some player shit, but I just gotta make sure moms don't find out. Sneak in there one day, and my mom come banging on the door like 4 a.m. Boom, busting the door. She kicked my girlfriend out, but she talking to my girlfriend like she was some girl on the street that she never met before. I'm like, do you know her? Like, this is like my girlfriend that you see all the time. How the fuck is you going off on her like that? Like, she was talking crazy to her, kicked out and shit. So you know,
4 a.m.
You know, my girl like blue, like overly blue, embarrassed, all of that. But it was just weird how my mom was going in on it. It was like, I get her being mad at me, but the way she was talking to her was just kind of like they had never met before. Some of the shit was crazy. And my dad came to the door and went the fuck off, bro.
He had to play that role.
This nigga could have won an Oscar, bro. Like, he could have won an Oscar. He went the fuck off, and then he walked off, and then when all the shit was over, he came back and was like, bro, I told you. I told you. And like, I mean, it's funny we can laugh at it, but I thought that was just like some
that was some whole ass
shit. No, right now, I still feel like that was some whole ass shit. Because my thing is like, nigga, you could have just told me don't do it.
Yeah,
you could have just been like, nigga, just don't do that. Like, don't do that at all. But to kind of play it like you cool with it, and then even when the whole shit went down, you could have just not said nothing because you was cool with it. You could have stayed out of it. But for you to like try to acquiesce to her and go the fuck off on me. And he was going hard too. Like, he was going hard. I'm looking at this nigga like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, and that's something I feel like it's just hard because I lost a lot of respect. That was probably the first time I saw my dad as a human. That was probably the first time I ever looked at my father as just a regular person. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even want to say what I was thinking. Like, I'm not even gonna say that on a public platform what I was thinking. But yeah, it was crazy. You could probably imagine. The second thing was kind of like the same energy, but the day my mom kicked me out. I don't know if I ever told that full story in here before, but the day my mom kicked me out, she a 4 a.m. type of motherfucker, I guess.
That was 1 a.m. too?
She came and my pops used to work overnights and shit. Okay. Still to this day, he always worked overnights my whole life. She come knock on the door, wake me up at like 4 a.m. She's like, you got to clean the tub out. Like, cool. I get up, go clean the tub out. And you know, she got to get ready for work. So I'm like, all right, that was kind of valid. I mean, like, if I forgot, my bad type shit. Go clean the tub out. Go back to sleep. She waited a nice little minute till I fall asleep, though. Knock on the door again. Boom, boom. She like, hey, you forgot to wash the dishes. So I go downstairs to wash the dishes, but it was like very odd because all the lights was on. She was on the phone, walking around, pacing back and forth, talking, drinking coffee. The TV was on. It's like 4 a.m. Like, what the fuck is going on? It's just weird. So I'm like, it's something happening. You know what I'm saying? So I go wash the dishes and shit. And I go back upstairs, go to sleep again. She waits till I fall asleep again. Like, wait a nice little minute. Come back to the door.
Okay, this is evil.
Knock on the door again. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, come downstairs. I come downstairs. She like, you forgot a dish. It was a coffee cup she was drinking out of while I was washing the dishes.
Never.
So she like, you forgot a dish. And I turned around, I'm like, what's going on? She's like, get your shit, get the fuck out of my house. Just like that. And I'm just like, cool. Like, I felt it coming anyway. Like, we never had a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I felt it coming and shit. So
how old you?
17.
Okay.
So I grabbed my shit, you know what I'm saying, whatever I could grab, put it in the car. And you know what I'm saying, I pull up on like one of the safer blocks in the neighborhood, pull up, sleep in the car, whatever. My father get off work at like 7 a.m. He usually in the garage. He don't go in the house till like probably 8:30 and shit. He be standing in the garage and shit all day, all morning. So I know where he finna, you know, I pull up on him and shit and I tell him what happened. Like, you know, mom's kicked me out last night. I'm expecting this nigga to just, what the fuck you mean she kicked you out? That nigga told me, he was like, bro, one day it was just gonna be me and her anyway, so whatever she say is what it is. I say, damn.
Nigga, that hurt my feelings.
You know, and like, it was crazy because me and my pops was like super close when I was a kid. So I just didn't, I was the only child. You know what I'm saying? So when I did leave my grandma's house with all my cousins and shit, and it was just me and my parents, it was like me and my pops were super tight. Me and my mom had a terrible relationship. Me and my pops were super tight. He made sure I enjoyed my childhood because I didn't have brothers and sisters and shit. So it was cool, you know what I'm saying? But at that point, it just was like, I just would have never expected that shit. You know what I'm saying? But now, me and my father don't have a good relationship, but we have a much better relationship than me and my mom. Because me and my mom never had a good relationship. So it's nothing to rebuild. You know what I'm saying? Versus me and my father just, you know, it could be rebuilt. We haven't started none, but that's where we are. And then not too long ago, a couple months ago, I was over there and shit. And every now and then my father send me like a meme or something that'll say like, you know, your parents are getting old, check on them, shit like that.
Look here, man.
And you know, I don't feel like it's guilt tripping. I feel like it's him. He don't know how to be like open. He a nigga who grew up in the fucking 80s and 90s and shit. He don't know how to be like open and vulnerable and shit. So that's probably as vulnerable as it's gonna get for him. And but for me, it just made me feel a little guilty and shit. But it's also like I don't really know where to start. But one day I was over there and I was trying to like, I only chill over there when they not there. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm like, well, that nigga upstairs sleep, I chill over there. So my mom walk in the crib, like, oh, all right. She like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm cool. How you doing? All right, I'm out. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of get the vibe. But I grew up in that house, so it's just like sometimes it's just like being there. You know? So, one day that nigga was walking up the stairs and he just stopped out the blue and he's like, bro, if you don't like me, if you hate me, however you feel about me, just let me know before I die. And I'm like, what you mean? He was like, I ain't let my father know before he died, and that shit still bothered me. But I hated that nigga. So if you feel that way about me, just let me know before I die. I'm like, bro, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. Like, the whole dynamic of this shit is just wild. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna start by saying, generationally, when you think about our parents, and us, Black fathers has gotten better with, you know, how we interact and raise our kids. I think I just seen something recently where it says, you know, we're spending 3 times as much time with our kids than our parents, et cetera, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And to think about how you grew up, you know, relationship with your mom, relationship with your dad. And this is, you know, me on the outside looking in with knowing things you told me and the things you shared on the pod. And I'm like, yo, for you to be who you are, the type of dad you are, the type of man you are, and you dealt with all of that shit is like hella commendable. Like,
appreciate it.
I don't even see how this person can come from that, because it wasn't, I learned from my pops. I learned from, you know, my upbringing, and you had, for the person you are now, you had to go dig for all of this shit to be this person. You had to find a resource. Like, you had to find something to mirror. And so you looked for who you are right now. Of course, I'm not taking anything away from your pops and what he did teach you, but the bulk of the man you are is all from your doing. And that shit is just, you know, because I grew up in a healthy household. And, yeah, that shit is, I can't even imagine. Damn, I think I'm getting a little emotional because I'm putting myself in your shoes for you to go to your pops and y'all had that relationship and he say that. Hearing that, I'm just,
yeah, that shit was hard.
That shit have crushed that shit, man.
Nah, that shit was hard, bro. So, but yeah, though, I don't know, man. That shit,
and I don't see, and this is about forgiving, you know what I'm saying, our parents, and putting myself in your shoes. I don't know if I want to say it. I don't know if I could forgive him for that if that was me.
Yeah.
And you know, just because you think about Carter, you know what I'm saying. You think about if that was the same situation, and you think about what you would do now, like if Carter came to you, or if Carter was whatever, and his mom, you was still with his mom, just putting him in that same situation, you wouldn't turn him away like that. So you go, when you think back on it, you can't understand why he would do that.
Yeah, I used to try to like really rationalize it and be like it was a point that I tried to convince myself that I was bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I had to try to rationalize like why they would do that, like, or why my mom would do that. So like, but I like as I looked at them, like, okay, some of the baddest shit I did, they still don't know I did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like stealing cars and shit. Like, but it was like I was never a street kid. I was never running around with guns. Nigga, you had to fight. You didn't have a choice but to fight. That was just like shit that happened. But even the car shit, that was like a summer. You know what I'm saying? Never fucked with drugs. Never was gang banging. Never bought like I was the best kid on my block. Like. Yeah, by far. You know what I'm saying? Like these niggas was wilding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
you said I was the last one to steal.
I was them that kind of the protected kid on the block. Like the niggas on the block kind of was like, you know, like, oh, Lil T cool. Like he not like really with all this extra shit. So it was like I had to damn near try to convince myself or figure out like what the fuck was I doing that made it that. You know what I'm saying? And I hear stories from the family and shit about shit that went on when I was a child. I don't know how true none of this shit is, but it kind of feel like my mom just didn't want a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was told that my mom actually was raped on my birthday, the year before I was born. Like, so the 1 year anniversary of that happening to her, I was born like that next year on the same day. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's what my family told me, but maybe I don't know if it's like, oh, this nigga's like a bad omen or some shit or whatever. She don't get along with no kids though. Like even now, like so I just got to her about some shit. She said the car that I had to like really like just
I know you ain't going for that.
Yeah, but I mean I didn't even say nothing to her. I just like because I couldn't formulate the thought in the moment. Mm-hmm. It was slight though. She just said like she asked him to do something and he said huh, and she was like huh like that, and like she say duh a lot and shit like that. Like ask something, she like duh shit like that, and it was just like. It blew me, but I didn't know how to because this is like I remember that shit through my whole childhood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember like just being like always I'm damn near scared to say something because motherfucker gonna make me feel like I'm slow or shit like that. And it's just like this is why I didn't have the confidence I needed, you know what I'm saying? Like for a long time, you feel me? Or like shit like that. So I'm just like, but I couldn't like it kind of hit me like it damn near like an emotional way when she did it to him. So I couldn't like formulate the thought to say like, I'm just like, hey, don't do that. That's all I could say. You know what I'm saying? But I thought about it later, like, damn, like it just brought back so much, like that little shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't want him to feel like he got to second guess himself every time he talking to you. And he not around her as much as I was. I was living with that. Like that's this person in my house with me every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different, but shit blew me though.
When you said, when you witnessed that, first of all, you definitely one of the most articulate niggas I know. Like you talk, we talk very well. Like you're never at a loss for words. I've never seen you at a loss for words. Nigga, you witty, all of that. So what that told me, in that moment was it was that triggering for you. Mm-hmm. Like it put a halt to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you relived it. You saw it totally differently. Like if I was there and she said that shit, I wouldn't have processed it how it hit you.
For sure.
Because it was something that you was reliving in that moment, and it was a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I don't know. I'm kind of losing the talking points. Let me see. Another thing I try to think about is like what we just talked about, the context of my parents' life. Mm-hmm. Like what was, and I think that's the hardest thing because you was a kid, so it's like you was there, but you really wasn't there. Like I don't know how much money my parents was actually making. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how hard shit was for them in real life. They never talked to me about. That's a big mistake I feel like parents make. They never, we grew up on like stay in a child's place, this grown folks business, so they never talked about money. Mm-hmm. They never talked about any of that shit. Like I said last episode, I realized we kind of was on a more poor side because of Christmas lights. Like, like why the fuck we got to drive all the way up here and look at some nice Christmas lights? Like, why they no lights in our neighborhood? So that's kind of how I kind of, figured out our placement and shit. But I never could ponder, and that's a conversation I would love to have with them. I think that'll make things a lot easier too. If I understood the context of their life more, like you know, what was y'all experience like when y'all was going through this? Was you transitioning jobs at this time? You know, grandparents getting sick, they got to deal with that. Like, but you don't, as a kid, you don't know, like you said, some of the dopest shit about you expressing to your son when you're not in a good mood.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm not having a good day today. Da, da, da. Versus we never got that shit as kids. Like, you just got went the fuck off on. And you just like, okay, damn, shit, let's around this bitch. Let me go in my room. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, niggas a little hot. Like, fuck is going on? Like, but you never understood it. But it's like when that shit compacted and it's making motherfuckers just like mean all the time, or just, you know, it's tension in the house. And imagine being the only child. That's the fucked up. People always talk about being the only child. Like, it's just like this amazing shit. You get everything you want. Get the fuck out of here. First of all, I wasn't getting shit that I wanted. So that defeat the purpose. But the other thing is, like, a lot of people don't understand how important and lucky they are to have siblings to talk shit about your parents with. Oh my God. Imagine you in the crib with two parents that's dysfunctional as fuck, and it's just you and them. That's it. They don't like each other. They don't like you right now either. You know what I'm saying? Or you got to sit at the dinner table with them every day. And they into it with each other, or they on bullshit with you, or your grades was bad. Nah, it's just super tense around this bitch for you. You don't got no siblings to talk to. It's just you and that bitch. Like, you can't play the game.
That shit sound like jail.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you and two adults who don't like each other that much. Like, that shit is crazy. That shit is terrible. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. So I do wish I knew more of the context of their life and the things that they struggle with, because now I'm understanding the context of life myself, being an adult. And understanding, you know, certain shit I struggle with my son, like even that quality time. Like, we got the time, like he here all the time, but you know, sometimes it's like he want to watch a movie and shit. I'm sitting there watching a movie, but I'm on the laptop trying to edit this shit, and he like, nigga, you know, watch this motherfucking movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he trying to talk to me about the movie. I'm like halfway there, and you know, people could feel that. You know, when you're not really present, even kids, you know, so. Somebody asked me my biggest fear on my Instagram story, and that was my answer, was like that, you know, by the time I reach the goals I'm trying to reach, that my poor work-life balance would be to the point that like certain personal relationships I just be like ruined beyond repair. And I don't think me and my son relationship would be ruined, but I do think, you know, you get to a certain point, you got all this free time, you're like, hey son, let's go to the movies. Like, nigga, I'm finna go with my girl. Like, I'm not trying to kick it with you no more. And like, it's like, nigga, you missed it. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't getting that time back. And it's difficult, you know? So I do wonder what my parents was going through at different times, man. I think another aspect of this shit is unmet needs, you know? We all got different needs as kids. Some of it might be validation. Some of it might be acknowledgement. Some of it might be just love, more hugs and shit. I got a cousin who his wife always hugs him like super, super tight. And he hates that shit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, man, get off me. Like, why you on me? And one day this is my cousin. He's my cousin though. Like, you know what I'm saying? But this is his wife, and she explained it to me. She was like, you know, he didn't get hugs as a kid. And I'm like, I ain't know that. And she was like, they don't hug. Like, that part of my family doesn't hug. Yeah. And
that's why she
and like, he really don't like that shit. And she like, I try to like give him as much physical affection because he missed out on it as a kid, and he don't like it, but he like it. You know what I'm saying? And
fuck with that.
So we all got all types of unmet needs, man. You know, and for me, I'm not as sure. Like, I definitely felt like not really seen as a kid at different times. I definitely felt, you know, that I didn't get. I compared a lot too. So like, I wanted them Jordans and shit like 100%. That too. So I wouldn't say that that's a need, but it felt like it. It felt like it back then, especially when you on the honor roll and shit like that. Yeah. That's why I always say one of my biggest fears with my son is like him earning some shit and me not being able to afford it.
What I did before the cameras was on, Trey was down here with us, and he like, Terry was like, "Oh, you got a Christmas list?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm piling it up. My Christmas list, I've been good." Ooh. Yeah. And I told Trey, I'm like, "Boy, you used to save me a lot of money when you was bad." Yeah. But now, like, he good. Like, I can still give him whatever he want, type shit. So yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how to like really define the needs that I had like emotionally as a kid. I just know one, like some of the shit that used to like really fuck me up though, like that my mom would do. She would like lie to people about me, and she would talk about me a lot while I was right there, like as if I wasn't there.
They make TikToks and reels about that shit a lot.
What was that? Like parents like talking about you.
You sitting right there, your mom behind you on the phone. Let me tell you what this nigga Terry did.
Yeah, yeah. But it was times like she'd just be like flat out lying though, and I didn't understand why. And it was just like, all right, I could say niggas the truth right now. Like, what is you doing? Like she always make it seem like she was just like whooping me all the time, like to other people. Like I remember one time we lived on like down the street in on Sagaman on like 76 or some shit, and I was playing on a balcony. Like I could go on a balcony, but I couldn't go outside like in the neighborhood. My neighborhood was bad as fuck though, so I don't blame him for that. But my ball bounced off the balcony. I used to hate telling my parents shit because they were so hostile. Damn. So I couldn't tell them the ball bounced off. I was gonna get cussed out for the ball bouncing off the balcony. So I jumped off the balcony, tried to get the ball. Was too small to climb back up the fucking balcony. Like, and I'm learning this in real time. Like, fuck, I'm stuck. Now I'm locked out the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now I know I'm gonna get in trouble because now motherfucker be like, oh, you was outside. Like, you know what I'm saying? You think you was outside. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? So now, like,
God damn, bro.
So now I get back, I ring the doorbell. My mom like, what the fuck is you doing outside? She go the fuck off, and I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Like my ball bounced off the porch. Why the fuck the ball? I'm just like, Jesus Christ. So,
oh my God.
Basically, she get on the phone and like call my grandma and my grandma first, then my auntie, then somebody else, and she tell all them that she whooped me for jumping off the porch. I'm like, you didn't even whoop me. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it just be crazy, Then I feel like we'd get in front of my cousins and shit, and she'd be harder on me than she would. Like she'd like smack me or some shit if I said something like any little thing. Like, and I wasn't even a disrespectful kid or nothing like that. Like, I wasn't saying I might crack a joke to them at a time where I don't know, like my grandma was talking or some shit. I might like snicker or laugh. She slapped me and shit. I'm like, you wouldn't even do this shit if they weren't here. Like it was just like I don't know. I feel like I had like performance anxiety almost. Like I was them that's like. First of all, I'm already an only child, so I'm not used to socializing with kids. Yeah. I live with adults. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really play with kids and talk to other kids and shit like that other than at school. But, like, that's a certain relationship. It's different when you got, like, siblings and shit and you able to interact with people outside of a classroom or outside of a school setting versus, like, you just by yourself and shit all the time. So, for me to get around my cousins and you embarrass the fuck out of me was just, like
that don't help.
Yeah, that shit didn't help at all. So it was just little shit like that. So I feel like I don't know what I needed. I don't know how to express that as an emotion, but I feel like whatever that was a big unmet need for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it was like respect, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it was, but or maybe it was just like feeling that I had somebody I could go to for shit. Like my father was the same way in a sense of like my father used to always tell me, if you need anything, always come to me. I remember I got into a fight with this nigga who was my homie. Two of my homies got into it, right? And we stayed block by block. Like I stayed on one block, the homie stayed on the next block, another homie stayed on the next block. So these two niggas get into it. And one of the niggas, I don't know who I was closer to, because one of them I knew from the neighborhood, like we was tight from elementary school, and the other nigga was from the neighborhood, but we met him late. Like he didn't used to come outside. But we went to high school together, me and the other nigga. So I was kind of like getting closer to him because we went to the same high school, but I knew this nigga longer. So anyway, these two niggas get into it, right? They beefing. And they beefing because that nigga got us a job at McDonald's. One of the homies, I'm gonna say the name, Keith, right? The nigga Keith got us a job at McDonald's, me and my homie Marcus. We started working up there. Keith is into it with the niggas from the other side. We kind of like into it with them, but he went to the neighborhood high school, so they actually fighting and shit every day. All them niggas know his face. He know all them niggas. Me and bro didn't go to the neighborhood high school, so it's like we'd see them niggas in passing and get into it with them niggas, but we not like we don't know these niggas' names and all that shit. We not into it like they into it type shit. So anyway, we all get the job at McDonald's, the neighborhood McDonald's. Payday come. This nigga get robbed by one of them niggas on payday. And they rolled through, him and his uncle rolled through. They saw my homie Marcus with the niggas who robbed him. Marcus cool with them niggas because they went to our high school too. Like some of them niggas went to our high school too. But uncle looking at it like, you just got that nigga a job. They robbed you on payday. He told them niggas that you just got paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so now they into it. Okay, cool.
I see Unc stance.
Shit wasn't true, but it's like they just robbed you because they already didn't like your ass. They just you had money on you today. Like, what the fuck? They was on your they didn't get on your ass a million times before. Like, they just caught you on payday today. But I whatever. Anyway, you know, Keith and Mark, they ain't trying. Mark is the type of niggas like, he gonna tell you one time he ain't do it, and if you still want a problem, he'll beat your ass. Like, he don't get no fuck. You know what I'm saying? So they into it. I walk past Keith's crib. I was on my way to Mark's crib. I'm walking past Keith's crib. Keith on the porch. Keith like, he like, what up? Ooh, I'm like, shit. Like, what's good, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still going to Marcus' crib. And I know he mad about it because it's like, I just passed his crib. They into it. I'm like, they ain't got shit to do with me.
Yeah.
I go to Marcus' crib. Marcus coming out the crib, rolling his sleeves up. Like, I just saw that bitch ass nigga at the mall. I'm finna go beat his ass. I'm like, gee, what? So now I walk with Marcus back to Keith's crib. So now it's looking like I went to go get Marcus.
Damn.
Like, that's how he reading the shit. Like, this nigga just walked past me, went to go get this nigga and come back. So now me and Marcus walk up. These niggas finna fight. Now, at this time, me and Marcus boxing. Marcus is a lot more athletic than me. Like, this nigga punches a lot faster and a lot harder than I do. And Keith knows this. Right? So
It sounds like you hate Keith, and Keith knows this.
I fuck with Keith, though. That was I ain't seen that nigga. Last time I heard that nigga, he was God bless Keith. I don't know where that nigga at today, but I hope he doing well. But they square off and shit. Marcus trying to shake the nigga hand. But Marcus really finna sneak the nigga. And I know what Marcus on. I'm kind of like, why the fuck is he trying to pull this shit? Keith like not shaking the nigga. He like, nigga, fuck this nigga. Da-da. So Marcus is like, he leave Marcus hanging. So Marcus like, all right, fuck it in. Marcus walking the street, pull his pants up, like, come on, let's box type shit. I'm looking at Marcus do this. Keith turn around and punch me, G. I'm like, I get why you, I know you didn't want to fight this nigga. So I get it. But me and Keith square off, I fucked this nigga up. Knocked his tooth out, type of shit. The nigga uncle, let's stay with like 3 of his uncles. These niggas is like grown though. Like these niggas is 30 plus. Nigga uncle come out the crib. He had an uncle that do karate. We all was scared of this nigga our whole childhood. Like he like everybody hates Chris. Like the brother. Like we never see this nigga in action, but we always wanted to. And I done fucked up, and I gotta be this nigga that's in action.
Oh my god.
So the nigga come out the crib, boom. I'm on top of Keith, fucking keep up. The nigga pick me up, boom, slam me on the concrete, slam me on the concrete, boom. Keith get on me, like right. He slammed me and left me alone, but Keith take advantage. He jump on me, trying to work me out, boom. So get Keith up on me. I get back on Keith, same shit. He slammed me again. My homie Marcus take off running, right? Marcus running to his cousin crib, which is on like the next block. Marcus, because you know now he's like, it's like 3 grown niggas in this shit now. So he going to get his cousin and shit. Man, I call my cousin. My cousin don't even, my big cousin I'm always talking about. This nigga don't even live in the neighborhood. He just happened to have a barbershop right on the main street, like 4 blocks over. Kind of find out, this nigga cousin and my cousin know each other. They fuck with each other. So they pull up together. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, my cousin be on some other shit. So, and my cousin a street nigga, but I heard he was a street nigga, but I didn't know for real. I wish I wouldn't have called this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So the oldest uncle of the 3 uncles come outside. He recognized my cousin and instantly get to apologize. Like, oh no, I didn't know this nigga was your people. Like, Keith, chill the fuck out. Say sorry to that nigga. Come the fuck on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Keith run up, kick my cousin car. Right? Put a big ass dent in this shit. My cousin, he tell you like, hey, he was like, I'll never forget this shit. He was like, hey. He pulled halfway down the block, stopped the car. He's like, hey, look at them. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, look at them people. I'm like, okay, what about them? He's like, you ain't gonna never see them motherfuckers again. I'm like, nigga, like, that's my homie, though. Like, hotel. Like, yo, gotta, like, I thought we was gonna fight these niggas. Like, what's up? Like, and whatever happened with that. But my father was like pissed though. Cause he's like, why you ain't call me? He was pissed. That's all the shit. This story is a crazy tangent. Anyway, my father was like, why you ain't call me? And the thing was, like, I never called my father because he always was like, I was in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
everything was.
I got in my first car accident. This nigga cussed me out for days, bro. I'm like, nigga, you got crashed this shit on purpose. What the fuck is you talking about? Nigga took the whole front end off the fucking car. And I'm telling the nigga how the shit went down. I'm like, bro, the nigga was speeding. You know what I'm saying? You know how you first start driving and it's like cars lined up so you can't see what's coming. Mm-hmm. So you kind of like inching out and the nigga was just sped past and knocked my whole shit off. Bro, my pops like was cussing me out. Like, you know, so when you set that type of dynamic, it's like, bro, I don't want to come to you for nothing, bro.
Right.
Like anything going
conflict.
wrong in my life, you on my ass like I did something wrong. So, you know, but then on the flip side, when something do go wrong and I call somebody else and you find out about it, now it's still a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, like whatever. I don't know what those needs like could be defined as, but that's some shit that was like a constant thing in my life as a kid. It was like I didn't feel like I had nobody to really go to about shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that shit was tough.
Walking on, people are actually in relationships like that.
Man, right?
Like you scared to say anything because this person gonna either go off, you don't want to make them mad.
Like a ticking
like
time
that.
bomb.
A ticking time bomb. So to be
what time we at?
55.
So to be to grow up like that, I can't imagine it. And I was fortunate. I grew up with two of my sisters, and like we talk shit about my parents all the time. Like I get in trouble. I remember I'll never forget one time I had got in trouble. My dad yelled at me. My sister was so pissed. She in the room like, what's with a God? When I get older, I'm gonna take up for you.
Take up for you when
Shout
I'm
out to
older.
you,
It's
Keisha.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna take up for you when I get older.
How much older is your sister than you?
Probably like, damn, I'm 33. Maybe like 5 years.
Oh, see, me and my brother 5 years apart. I was going off behind my brother. I didn't care. My brother ran away. I got on the phone with my mama like, go find my brother. Like, I wasn't going. I ain't care how old I was.
Good show. We at 55. I got some more shit I want to go into, but we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna do the rest on Patreon. You got man's perspective? Or anything else about the episode though? Well, no, just a man's perspective. We can do the episode after Patreon. But
about the wait, what am I doing?
a man's perspective, and then we're gonna finish the rest of the episode.
Okay. See what I come up with.
What you mean?
See what you
Even a freestyle
Freestyle.
Now you were saying, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You might feed something. What?
It was something that you were saying you gonna say about your dad. I didn't know if that was a man's perspective or that's something you want to talk about later.
Damn, what was the context with that? Let me see.
I think you were saying like some type like seeing your dad as a human for the first time or something.
Oh, yeah. So I'll say this for AMP. So like I was mid-20s when I saw my pops as a human being, and I didn't start to see him like that until I became a man. I never knew the weight that he was carrying until I started to pick up some of them same responsibilities.
Yeah.
But the thing was, when I got empathy for him and, really saw him, it still wasn't on an even playing field because it was three of us.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, damn, you was working at the post office. You know what I'm saying? It was me, my two sisters, my mama, and we never struggled, or at least I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. And I just think about the weight with just me and Trey, and I'm trying to, create a certain lifestyle for us and everything. And I remember one day, one Father's Day, I acknowledged him for it. You know what I'm saying? I wrote it out in the card, and that was the first time that I talked to him man to man versus son, dad. I took away, I didn't see him as the figure. I'm like, yo, I see everything you doing or whatever. And I think that was maybe like the third time in life I seen him cry. My dad was the poster child for being stoic. I just never seen him emotional, never seen him cry. I think the first time I saw him almost cry was a funeral, and he just got up and walked out, but I didn't see no tears, but I knew he was emotional. But I'd never seen my dad cry. And I just saw him as a human being. And I remember another time, one time in particular, me and him, we was doing some yard work, and he had me carrying some tools down the stairs, and my goof ass tripped down the stairs with all the tools. I fucked myself up, and it was a bad fall. But I stood there, and I'm like, I didn't want to cry in front of him. And he like, my nigga. I'm like, I don't never see this nigga cry. I can't cry right now. I'm like, I took it, daddy. I'm a man. I'm like you type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but, our parents are, they just human beings. And I luckily I'm not in a position or a situation where I have to forgive my parents for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah.
For sure, man. Before we do the rest of the joint, advice for boy moms. So the first boy mom thing we did, the first advice for boy moms was about the alarm clock.
Right.
Right? And how important the alarm clock is, and making sure your kid get up on their own and being independent in the morning time throughout the morning routine. A lot of women have been giving me like, man, like the alarm clock not working. He's snoozing the alarm clock. He's still not waking up. Things like that. First of all, just being consistent with it. It might not work the first time, might not work the first week. It takes a while to be a routine. But secondly, another strategy that might help you out, put the alarm clock across the room.
Yes.
Like, don't have the alarm clock plugged up right next to them so they can snooze it without getting out the bed. Put the alarm clock on the other side of the room so this nigga has to get up and get out the bed to stop the alarm clock. Now, this nigga get up.
Look, I'm gonna eliminate that. What you do instead, buy a Bluetooth speaker, connect it to your phone, put the Bluetooth speaker in his room, and
blow his shit up.
You gotta come to me to cut this bitch off. You straight.
If he get up and walk across the room and turn that alarm clock off and go lay back down.
You gotta DDT his ass out the bed for that one.
Another thing I do with my son, I know everybody don't have the luxury to do this. I let my son be late as he want to be one day. I let him be late as he wanted to be one day. He snoozed the alarm clock 2 times. I was like, oh, bet. We chilling then. We chilling because I don't got to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So he woke up. Whenever he woke up, came back. I'm like, bro, you know what time it is? I'm like, you're supposed to be in school at 8:45. You woke up at 9 o'clock. Like, we was so late, bro. He ain't been late since. He ain't woke up late since then. And I think it was some of that just personal, like, because he cares about school enough to not want to be late as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't like putting no heat on him, rush him or nothing. I'm like,
this on you.
It's on you. Like, you late as hell. And that was the last time he was late.
I definitely give your kids, give your boys a lot of autonomy. Like, let them own things. For sure. Like with Trey, with decisions, if like me and him would be talking, he'd say like, oh, I think this, or I'm gonna do this. I'll tell him the better option. Yeah. And as soon as he gives me pushback, you got it.
For sure.
You got it. And he finds out you was right. Okay, cool. So next time, if I give you some advice, you probably should take it. For sure. We still working on it because he's still hard headed as hell. He still want to do it his way. Of course. But as he get older, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he'll think about that.
For sure. All right, man. That's going to be it for this episode of you watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Patreon, if you're listening on Apple, if you're listening on Spotify, all my Patreon people, stay tuned, man. If you're chasing anything in life, keep your foot on the gas. Never let up. Always remember that if you got 10 hours to chop down a tree,
you spend the first 8 sharpening your axe.
Absolutely, man. We out.
We out.
All right.
Shoot, bitch.
It's all God in the cave.